I will tell you, the Salvation Army should give him the highest award. My dream is that the NFL would find the daylights out of me, and I'm going to take them to the Supreme Court, and we're going to get the Salvation Army a lot of notice here.
Well, the NFL said he will not be fined for that celebration, but should that have been a penalty, Skip?
Be real, Skip.
I'm conflicted on this.
No,
one.
you
This
shouldn't
is the first time I am, because usually I am zero tolerance on the no celebration rule. No props can be used. No choreographed in-zone celebrations with teammates that might show up the other team. But I'm conflicted this time because this was not a prop. It's not like Zeke put the Salvation Army kettle at the back of the end zone, right? Did he put it there himself so he could use it when, like, stash his cell phone? Remember that? You got upstaged by the Joe Horn celebration. Remember that?
Skip, I can't even believe you would do that.
Okay, here's the problem I'm having with this. I loved what Jason Garrett brought up because I also thought it was a clever celebration. But how can you allow the grandfathered in Lambeau leap if you're not going to allow Zeke to jump into a kettle that is always there every holiday season because it is a charity partner with the Dallas Cowboys, is the Salvation Army. Zeke did an appearance for Salvation Army, had a day with the Salvation Army just last week. So he was into the charity. They're into the charity. It's their primary charity. That's their year after year after year through the holiday season. So it felt good to me. I was entertained by the fact he jumped in the kettle. But how can you allow players to jump into the stands at Lambeau? Are those props? The people in the first two rows of Lambeau Field, are those props? Because I would say no. I would say, is the end zone a prop?
How many times have they been jumping in that kettle? Since 1993, when the Lambeau leap went into effect, how many times have we seen somebody jump into that kettle?
I don't know any time.
Exactly.
Did Terrell Owens put a ball in it, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. But I thought it was clever to the point that I was conflicted about it. But in the end, to your point, I've said zero tolerance because what I would not want to see is if you said that one was okay, and they didn't fine him, obviously. They did flag him. But if you say no flag for that, then you open Pandora's box or the Salvation Army kettle for player after player to go jump in the kettle. It was a one-time event that worked for me. So in the end, I'm going to have to side with you. I assume this is the direction you're going. This is the direction I've always gone, that you just can't get away with it. But this one I was conflicted about because how about Odell? He got called back, but he started running up the tunnel, running up the runway to the tunnel. We have seen that many times going back to Bo Jackson. Remember that?
Yep.
So is the tunnel a prop? Because you could argue that shows up the other team too. No, it's part of the stadium. It's always there. And for him to run up it, should it be a penalty? No, not really.
Right.
The kettle has been there since, whatever you said, 1993. It's always there in the holidays to the point it's become a part of the TV package that is the Dallas Cowboys. I see it every year.
Yes.
It's in the back of my mind, but not in the front of my mind.
Right.
So he said, gee, if I score in that end zone, why wouldn't I just jump in the kettle? I thought it was pretty cool, actually. But I will agree with you, in the end, you still have to stop it because you don't want a parade of players jumping in the kettle.
Yes, you can't make an exception for this. Now, the NFL says you can't use a prop for a celebration. What is the pylon? Is the pylons always there? Did they not throw a flag on Ocho Cinco when he grabbed the pylon and putted the football? Now, which have been there longer?
By the way, we're going to get to ask him that, right?
So I just want the NFL to explain to me which have been there longer, the pylons or the kettle, the Salvation Army kettle. Which has been there longer, Skip? Now, if you want to debate whether the rule should be in place or not, we can do that another day. But that's not what we're debating. And this is the problem the players have with the NFL. They pick and choose. They find last week, Emmanuel Sanders, he wound up like he was throwing the football for a pitch. 14 grand. No prop. He had no prop. He just had the football, pretend like he was threw it against the wall. 14,000. Now, Ezekiel Elliott jumps into the Salvation Army kettle. no fine. Jerry says, the NFL, I'm going to take him, and I know he meant that tongue in cheek.
Yep.
And look, I don't have a problem with celebrations. I don't want to see the twerk. I don't want to see sexual or suggestive dancing.
I don't either.
But if you want to have a good celebrate, because people are like, well, act like you've been there before. But let me ask you a question. When you go on vacation, you take pictures every time you go to a different. Why don't you act like you've been on vacation before and not take pictures? But you do. So I have no problem with celebration because I want my work all week. I work my tail off, my teammates and I.
Yep.
In the game plan that the coaches have spent 100+ hours a week implementing, trying to find a way to get us into the end zone. And when I get there, I want to celebrate. I want to yes, finally, it worked. Now what I get an opportunity to see that all the work in the film study is paying off. I have no problem as long as they don't get out of hand with the suggestive dancing, the sexual and the twerking. If you want to celebrate, you want to do the centipede, the moonwalk, turn a backwards flip, I don't care. But the NFL, this is why the NFL, they rub me some kind of way because they pick and choose what they want to find players of. If you say you can't use a prop, I don't care if the Salvation kettle been there for 2,000 years. That is a prop because that is not a normal instrument that the players would use during the game.
Okay.
So it's just like when Pac-Man Jones, he ran and did the fireman. Antonio Brown did the fireman when he hugged the goalpost and slid down. They said that was a prop. The goalpost has been there since they've been playing football.
Fine. Then I say this next offseason, the Lambeau leap should be outlawed. And I'm not kidding. It should be outlawed. I don't know how it got grandfathered in because the stands are being used as a prop. The fans are being used as a prop. Am I right? So take that away also.
Stop, Skip.
No,
Stop
seriously.
it, Skip.
I mean, the goalpost is a part of it too.
Yeah, but you can't hug the goalpost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's one
Why
and the
should
same.
you be able to
Let me
jump-
ask you-
It's inconsistent by the NFL.
That's all.
But you have to imagine the reason they didn't do it is because it's associated with the charity.
No, because
and they don't want to deal with that.
Because it's the Salvation
Honestly,
Army.
I was just worried that Ezekiel was going to hurt himself. That was my concern.